Hello everyone. So today's video is going to talk about the allusions in literature. What is the meaning of allusions? So these are references in the English literature, and these references are of various nature: person, place, event. It could refer to anything. So we have Greek references, we have Latin references, and we also have Roman references in English literature. And there are others too. Let's begin with a few simple first, and then we'll dive into the core literary terms. So, these terms deals with gods, devils, historical battles, and other references. So first thing is Pandora's box. When we use Pandora's box, it signifies unexpected consequences or possible sources of trouble. Cupid, god of love. Now these are very simple references in English literature which we all use in our daily lives. Herculean task, repetitive action which needs or requires huge strength. Then we have Garden of Eden, paradise, beauty on earth. So, what I'm trying to say, we are beginning with really simple terms which you use knowingly, unknowingly, in colloquial way. Then is Midas touch. Midas touch, Greek mythology. This king by the name of Midas wished that everything he would touch turns to gold, and that happens, but ultimately it becomes a curse. So this signifies, if used in positive way, then she has got a Midas touch. That means everything she touches benefits everybody or becomes equivalent to gold like. So this is the positive thing, but ultimately if you recall the story from the Greek mythology, that means something that turned to a curse. Next we have Icarus's fall. Again, this is a mythological reference. Icarus is a person. He flew too close, and the story is that he flew too close to the sun with wax wings, and ultimately the wax wings melted and he fell. So this signifies again over ambition. Then we have Aegis. It is referred to as the shield of Zeus. So the shield of Zeus or Athena, and the shield was called Aegis, which means protection. Then we have Odyssean journey. Odyssean journey, it refers to the Odysseus long and challenging journey of quest. It is a journey of war, and it talks about the homecoming, and there are several events that are happening in this adventurous journey of the king Odysseus. So that is the Odyssean journey. Then we have Adonis, Greek mythology reference. He's the god of beauty. Then we have Janus Faced. Janus Faced is it's a Roman mythology, and he is a Roman god also. He has two faces, which means duality in literature, which means duality. Muse means gods of writing, gods of art, singing. Muse is basically invited by the authors, the writers, and certain characters in literature, poets and others. They invoke muses. Why? For inspiration. So when we say somebody is our muse, that means we draw our inspiration from that person, right? And we seek, basically we invoke and we seek blessings. Then we have phoenix risings. Phoenix rising means, it's a mythical word, phoenix. And this bird is popularly known for its regeneration quality. So it regenerates from its ashes, representing renewal and rebirth. It is very popular mythological reference that is used in English literature. Then we have Morpheus' realm. What is Morpheus' realm? He's a Greek god of dreams. So we can also say somebody is in deep sleep and is dreaming. Then we have Dionysian revelry. Now Dionysus is a god of wine and celebration. Then we have Medusa's gaze. Let's not forget, we have Medusa's laughter also. Medusa's gaze means when she would turn in the, again it's a mythology, these are all mythological references. So when she would turn people, when she would look at somebody, people would turn to stone. That was the magic of her single glance. Then we have Bacchanalian feast. This is Bacchanalian feast is similar to the Dionysian revelry, which means it is related to Bacchus or Dionysus, and is the god of wine. Then we have Leda and the Swan, which means it's a Greek mythology reference where Zeus, in the form of swan, seduces Leda. And this means what? This means otherworldly romance. Next we have Daedalus' wing. This reference is same as, not same as, but Icarus' fall we studied. So Daedalus' wing means Daedalus was the craftsman who crafted those wax wings. He fashioned those wings, and Icarus was the one who was wearing those wings. So Daedalus' wing and Icarus' fall, that becomes the entire mythological reference, and we also call it as Sisyphean reference. Sisyphean reference is also there. We'll come to that. Then we have Orpheus' lyre. Like our Krishna's magic is very famous, flute magic is very famous. Similarly, Orpheus' lyre means his music was no less than enchanting melodies. So his music would charm even the wildest of beasts, and they would act all calm and everything. Now we have, give me a second. Yes. Then we have the Sisyphean task. What is the Sisyphean task? As I mentioned earlier, Sisyphean task is when in the mythological reference, he was asked to boulder uphill for eternity, which means, or which signifies, a futile task. Result is futile. Promethean fire. Promethean fire is, so what happens here, he, in the mythological reference or the story, this person steals fire from the gods of humanity, obviously representing enlightenment, or it's a revolutionary thinking. Then we have Elysian field. Elysian field means paradise after life. So this signifies peace and bliss, expecting that afterlife, living a life in paradise. We can also relate it to a Hindi allusion, Swarg and Swarg and Narak, that you get after life. But here this is only Swarg, so paradise. Elysian field. Harpies screech. Harpies screeches. It's a mythological creature, and the voices are very disturbing, and they have shrill voices, so we call it as harpies screech. Yes, we get to know all these creatures, examples in many adaptations today in the animated movies which are for a target audience, for example, children. So in all these animated pictures, you find harpies screech. Then we have miniature Minotaur's maze. That is a complex labyrinth. So this person Minotaur, he used to live in a very maze like place. So and it was complex. So this is a reference to something that is as complex as a labyrinth, which means significance, if we ask, which means challenging situation. Then we have Venus, it is the god of beauty. Then we have Styx oath, that means an oath which is unbreakable, an absolute commitment. It signifies that Apollo is the sun god in the Greek mythology. Then we have Juno, it is the god of fertility, marriage and love. Then we have Athena, goddess of wisdom, war, and reason. Now I have a table created here. It's a tabular form, which signifies all the gods in Greek mythology, their equivalent in the Roman mythology, and the meaning. Okay, so the first one is there are a few repetitions, you can avoid them. Adonis, same in the Roman mythology. The meaning is god of beauty, rebirth, and fertility. Then we have Aphrodite in Roman mythology. Venus, okay, this GM is Greek mythology, RM is Roman mythology. So Aphrodite, Venus. Then we have god of love, sex. Then we have Apollo, god of sun god. Then we have god of war also. Okay, Aries, Mars, god of bloodlust. Then we have Artemis, Diana, goddess of hunt. Then we have Athena, Minerva, god of reason. Demeter, Ceres, goddess of agriculture. Chloris, Flora, god of flowers, flora. Dionysus, Bacchus, god of wine. Then we have Aurora is just an allusion, basically sleeping beauty. Uh, Somewhere I found that they were referring Aurora as sleeping beauty. Anyway, we can check because sometimes there are multiple meanings also. Eros is otherwise, we have many references, for example, coming from the fairy tale. So Aurora comes in fairy tales also, like Cinderella and others. Then we have Eros, Cupid, or the god of love. Hades, Pluto, or somebody who rules the world of dead. Then we have Poseidon, Greek sea god, and the Roman equivalent is Neptune. Okay, that's all for today. There are many references, and these references we meet these references in any English literature work, be it a piece of be it any literary work, prose, poetry, and others. Well, the idea here is this is just a drop from the sea, and you can check or Google and also consult many books for the vocabulary or for the references, but we have to be very specific because there are long lists. So when we study Sydney, when we study other poets, we find that if we are through with these terminologies, the understanding of the poetry or that work becomes very easy. Eliot's The Wasteland cannot be understood if we don't go through the allusions first. So that's all. Thank you.